don't be afraid of changing direction if something is not working for you. And I've learned that from experience. Don't stick into something if it's not working out. Be truthful to yourself. I have a sister who's a year older than me. I was born in Vakwa in Mauritius. My early childhood was spent at my grandmother's place because my mum was working, so it was easier for me to be there. Primary school, I was lucky enough to go to primary school walking distance from my house. And one of the lasting memories from there, we had a dog called Whitey, and Whitey would always come and drop us off to school. But sometimes Whitey was dirty. He was more like Brownie rather than Whitey. One day he dropped me off at school and stayed in the class. And the problem is the stench was so bad in the class that I had to walk back home with Whitey to take him home and ask my dad to give him a shower. But anyway, after primary school, I went to Saint-Esprit, which is one of the star schools in Mauritius. I know some people will say Royal Capip and Royal Vaudy. But being there helped me become a more of a rounded individual, because the teachers we had there helped us think more outside of the box. And I remember one of the things we did was when there was they stopped the inter-college championships, we just decided that we'll do a march onto Rosil. So we coordinated with all the other colleges, and when we got back, our head said this is completely out of order, and he was going to send 2 of our friends home, for a week. And it was just spontaneous. So one guy just said, no, I don't agree with this, and we all kind of did a sit-in in the school, and that went in the newspapers and everything. And for the younger generation, I can send you the paper clippings for it, because you wouldn't remember that. After college, I went to study in England to read law, and I guess my experience in London made me who I am today, because that's one of the things I would talk to you about is the importance to adapt yourself to a new environment. I left Mauritius when I was 19. Everything was being done for me. Food was being cooked, clothes were being washed, ironed, and everything. I went to England in September '96. And I remember when I was going, my cousin, who had spent some time in England, he said to me, yeah, for the first month, couple of months, you'll feel very homesick, so be prepared for that. And at that time there was no WhatsApp, there was no FaceTime, there was no mobile phones. It was just starting in '96, believe it or not. So I went there, landed in the morning at 8 or 9 o'clock, and it was grey. The sky was grey. So I just thought, all right, 10 o'clock, the sun will come out. I spent the whole day, and it was great. And I've never been to England. And I just said to myself, Kush, just be prepared. Condition yourself. It's not going to be like Mauritius. You probably won't see the sun for days on end. And that was true. So I kind of conditioned myself for it to be different. But having said that, after the first week, I started worrying quite a lot, actually, because I wasn't feeling homesick at all. Because you're new in a new place, freshers week, going out every day, everyone is taking care. And I was lucky as well, because in my flat there was 6. It was a 6-bed flat, so we had a shared kitchen, bathroom, etc. And the guys in the flat was very inclusive. So they took me in, they were taking me out when they were going out. Did my 3-year law degree, did my bar course there as well. And before I left Mauritius, my path was kind of like pre-decided. Because my dad likes politics, and he said, when you come back as a lawyer, you'll join this political party, and everything was set. It was all pre-arranged. But in my first university, I met Sarah, who's now my wife. And my parents were completely devastated, because it was like, Kush, come back to Mauritius, marry a Mauritian girl who speaks the same language, etc. But no, it's like I listened to my heart, I listened to my gut instincts, and when my parents met Sarah, they loved her more than me, which is fine, which is great. So again, adapting. I did my law degree, I did my bar course, and the next step is, if you want to be practice as a barrister, you need to do your pupillage. I applied for pupillage in England, didn't get any pupillage, and it could have gone both. It could have gone two ways. I could have just been depressed. I've spent 4 years doing a law degree, doing my bar, nothing was happening. But I just thought, no, there might be something else. There must be something else out there. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was working for Credit Suisse, the investment bank, and he said, we're recruiting at the moment. Come and join us. Just while you're still figuring out what you want to do, come and join us. Work for us for a bit, and then join law again. And that was the best decision I made. So I was mobile phones. I was, I guess, 22 at the time, and I joined investment banking, and it was the best time of my life. I didn't know the investment banking world before, and we were supporting the trading desk. So it was just like every Thursday night was socializing night. Sarah was understanding as well. So we didn't have Sophie, my daughter, so it was all good then. Did that for about 3 years, 3.5, and then came back to Mauritius, because I thought, if I want to come back to Mauritius in the future, if we want to come back, I might as well do my bar here so that I can practice. So I came here, did my bar for a year. That was in 2005. And then went back to London, because I started comparing how much I was earning in London and how much I would earn here. So that was the thing. So I went back to London, and the job I started temping, because I was after investment banking. So to get back into it, it took me some time. So I went to a temping agency, and call came after about a day, and the guy said, Kush, there's this sales opportunity for you. And I thought, great, yeah, I can sell. And she said, it's a small company, just a startup company. Just go there. I've sent your CV. They like you. Just go there and see what you think. So I walked in, and it was a small, tiny, not even an office. It was a tiny space with a desk, and I was meant to be sitting here. And the guy said to me, I'm really impressed with your CV. You're a lawyer. You can do this. And I said, but what is the job? And the job was literally selling wills to old people. So, cold calling old people to sell will to them, testament. And I listened to him, and I thought, all right, okay, I'll give it a go. So he gives you a list of people to call. So I'm calling first, second, third, fourth. By the fifth person I called, and everyone was saying, no, I don't want a will. Where did you get my number? And there was a script, your number, you went shopping there and you gave your details to this. And all of them were saying, no, I didn't give any details. And the guy was there, yeah, but tell them they might have forgotten. Yeah, you might have forgotten. And by the fifth, I said, and the guy said to me, look, I'm old. Why are you doing this to me? Stop calling me. Just let me in peace. I just put the phone down, and that's the other thing that I've learned is like be truthful to yourself. If you're not happy in something, just don't stay there for the sake of being in a job or for the sake of getting some money. I just said to him, look, I can't do this. And I was like, yeah, but yeah, you just came in. And I said, look, if you can if you can harass all people like this, you do it, I can't. And I walked out of there. And I probably lasted about an hour and a half in that job. That was my shortest stint in a job. Yeah, so spent a few years in England. My daughter was born there. She's now 10. And we moved to Mauritius about 7 years ago. Because I've never worked in Mauritius, and I kept saying to my wife, you know, Mauritius is fantastic, and that I would have more time with the family. But boy, was I wrong. Because when I came to Mauritius, I was working for Barclays Capital in England, and I joined the legal team here, and it was different. You know, I was working longer hours here than I was doing in England. I guess it comes with responsibility as well. And I'm the kind of person, if I have the responsibility, even though some people were telling me, Kush, the contract says 8:30 to 4:30, you know, 4:30 they were out of there. But you know, I don't regret it. Again, I had to readapt to Mauritius because I thought it would be great coming back to Mauritius as a Mauritian. I'll fit right in. But 17 years later on, a lot of things had changed, and I felt like a tourist in Mauritius. And it was hard for me because I was the one who was meant to be anchored, so my family felt anchored around me, but it was the other way around. Sarah and Sophie got used to Mauritius before I did. I just, and then, you know, what's important, I guess, just to share something with you, is don't be afraid of changing direction if something is not working for you. And I've learned that from experience. Don't stick into something if it's not working out. Be truthful to yourself. And I guess to end, I was thinking of how do I end? I'll probably end with a question an advice to my younger self, to a 16-year-old Kush. The advice would be, you know, don't be afraid if you don't be scared if you don't know what you want to do at 16, because things change. How are we expected to know what we want to do with our life when we're this young? You know, sometimes we have guidance, sometimes we have pressure from parents, friends, etc. But you know, if you decided something at 16, you know, 20 you can change, 25 you can change, 43 you can jump 43. You know, you can still change. So it's about change. It's about being truthful to yourself as well. That's a bit of my experience.